Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Pension Fund of the Christian Church conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Later we will conduct a question and answer session. Instructions will be given at that time. If you should require assistance during the call, please press star then 0. This conference is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to Mr. James Hamlet. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, operator, and thank you for joining us this evening for this call, which is focusing on church-wide health care. I will be your host for this question and answer session. It's scheduled for an hour. We'll see if it lasts that long, depending upon the number of questions. With me is the Reverend Dr. Todd Adams, Vice President, President-elect, and several other colleagues who may be asked to respond to questions as they arise. The session is scheduled for 1 hour and is being recorded and will be posted on our website. If we run out of time and your question has not been answered, you may want to join the webinar that is scheduled for June 24. Or you can pose your question to us by email at pfcc1@pensionfund.org. Please keep in mind that this is a public forum, and as such, it is important that you do not ask us to discuss questions specific to your accounts. We do not want to reference anything that would violate personal privacy for your accounts or situation. This is especially important since we are discussing health care. We will open up for questions in just a moment, but I would like to make a few comments. I'm sure you've seen the news release of June 17 announcing that pension fund directors acting as trustee of the Christian Church Healthcare Benefit Trust made the difficult decision to discontinue offering health care plans for persons under age 65, effective December 31, 2016. This decision affects all participants under age 65, including pension fund employees. Participants over age 65 and others who are Medicare eligible will continue to have access to the 2 Medicare supplement plans through church-wide health care. The Christian Church Healthcare Benefit Trust has fulfilled many of the goals it set forth when church-wide health care was first established by General Assembly action at the 1971 Louisville Assembly. Principal among those goals were access to health care without pre-existing condition and portability across state lines. Today, those needs can be met outside of church-wide health care more cost-effectively and properly tailored to meet individual needs. Employers with 2 or more full-time employees will have 2 options. They may find or establish a new group plan for their full-time employees or discontinue offering health care as a tax-free employee benefit. If it does the latter, individuals will seek their private health insurance either through an exchange or private broker. Pension fund encourages that employers, in this case, provide a benefits bonus as a taxable benefit to offset part or all of the cost of the employee's coverage. The bonus, if you will, would be taxable income and not tied directly to the cost of insurance, but offsetting a portion of it. It is also against the law for employers to pay directly the premiums for health insurance provided by individual companies, with one exception. Employers with only 1 paid employee may continue to reimburse or pay premiums for that employee on a pre-tax basis. Pension fund will be following its own advice and will discontinue offering health care as a tax-free benefit. We will also be providing a benefits bonus for each employee to help them purchase private insurance. Finally, we will be engaging an online service provider by the name of Gravy to assist employees with their search and selection of health coverage either through an exchange or private insurance. This service is one that we will recommend to other congregations and employers to enable them to have better access to private and exchange services. Now, I'm sure you have many questions, so why don't we open it up for questions and answers. Operator, if you would cue the first question.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. A voice prompt on your phone line will indicate when your line has been opened. You may remove yourself from the queue at any time by pressing the star key followed by the digit 2. If you're using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the corresponding digits. Once again, please press star 1 at this time to ask a question, and we'll pause for just a moment to allow everyone an opportunity to signal for questions. And we'll go to our first question. As a reminder, please state your name before posing your question.
Am I there?
Yes.
Yes, Ray Lambert. I'm wondering how that site you mentioned, Gravy, is it Gravy?
Gravie.
Gravie, and that's a place to go to find out about individual policies.
Yes, it is.
Okay. That's a website?
They do have a website. I think it's gravie.com.
Okay. All right. I'll look at that one. Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And as a reminder, it is star 1 at this time if you do have a question. We'll go to our next question now.
Yes. Yes, this is Helen Hempling. What options do we have for dental coverage?
This is Gene Fisher. The options for dental coverage are many, and Delta does offer a host of individual plans. Also, there are some ACA plans that offer dental as a part of the benefit. So there are some options that came up in the earlier conference call today, and we'll make sure that we put some additional information out there about dental alternatives on our website.
And once again, it is star 1 to ask a question. We'll move to our next question now.
Hi, this is Tracy Sigmund. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about churches' options for one full-time employee, what they can do to reimburse me or pay directly the cost of an individual policy.
Sure. Tracy, this is Todd Adams. If there's just one employee in the church, that is actually an exception to the ACA laws. So if you just have one employee, they can pay directly for a premium through private insurance. You cannot use the healthcare.gov exchange for that. So you would need to work with a local insurance broker. Gravy also offers non-ACA plans, or what would be referred to as private plans. But if an employer only has one employee, they are currently allowed to pay that premium directly. If you choose to go the reimbursement route, and this would be for whether you have one employee or up to 50 employees, it is taxable income to the employee. We do suggest that the amount be grossed up 20% to cover any income tax associated with it. If you itemize your income tax on Schedule A under medical expenses, you can include the premiums, of course, subject to the AGI limits, and so you would need to check with your tax advisor on that. Also, when clergy go to the exchange, the healthcare.gov, or through Gravy to purchase an ACA plan, your clergy housing allowance is not included in your taxable income because that is based on your adjusted gross income, your total household income, it's like line 44, whatever the bottom line there is on the first page of your income tax return. So that is another benefit where you might also qualify for some of the tax credits available to you.
Thank you.
And
Welcome.
we'll move to our next question.
This is Linda Parker, and just a clarification. Todd, you said if the church has one employee, is that one full-time employee? What if they have part-time employees too?
It is. This is Gene Fisher. It is one full-time employee. And if you have multiple full-time employees, it really is one full-time employee, not just if that one full-time employee is receiving health care coverage and the other full-time employees are not. Also, keep in mind that if you have part-time employees cannot work more than 25 hours per week. And again, this is for an employer with one employee, one full-time employee.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, it is star 1 at this time to ask your questions. It appears there are no further questions at this time.
Let's wait a few seconds.
Once again, it is star 1 at this time if you would like to ask a question. And we did get a question in queue. We'll go to our next question.
Okay.
This is Linda Parker again. Do we have to wait till December to do this, or should we do it now?
Well, you certainly can do it now. Since we've announced the discontinuation of the program, you could be eligible to get coverage elsewhere. However, you want to be mindful that if you change in midstream, you would be subject to new deductibles and out-of-pocket limits. So if you've already satisfied those, I would not encourage you to move forward until the end of the year.
Okay.
And we'll go to our...
Perhaps we should talk a little bit more about Gravy, because this is a service that the pension fund will be using for its own staff, and we're encouraging others to at least take a look at it, because they offer the capacity to help individuals find both private insurance and exchange insurance, depending upon what their situation and needs are. And they can do that across country in each market that's available. The key there is that Gravy is functioning as under contract with the employer, and there is a monthly fee for the employer to use Gravy services or to offer that to their staff, and it's $15 per employee who's using the service per month on a one-year contract. But that gives the employees the ability to go to the individual markets in their area, identify what their needs might be. Maybe they want a high deductible, or maybe they need a PPO, or maybe they need another kind of insurance, or maybe they're on the exchange and get a subsidy. With the information that you provide about your needs and your doctors and your pharmaceuticals needs, they can then identify those types of coverage that best fit your needs. And I think that's the real benefit that they can provide. Our understanding is that going that process could provide savings to you and to the church in that process.
And we do have additional questions in queue. We'll go to our next question now.
Yes, this is Helen Hempling again. I have two questions, follow-up questions. Linda asked a question about one full-time employee, and you said one full-time employee is eligible. We're in a situation where we have one full-time and multiple part-time. So would I still be able to, as I have our one full-time employee, be eligible to have the employer pay pre-tax? The other question is, Gravy, is it based on, is it nonprofit? Is it faith-based? I'd like a little story about how you found this service.
Well, our insurance brokers that we've been using for a number of years have found this particular organization. They are definitely a for-profit organization, and they serve a number of large corporations as well as small churches. I understand that they are working with one of the United Methodist regions, if you will, at this point. So they're working across, but they are a for-profit organization. It's basically an online portal service, but they also have 24/7 advocates who can help you with the process of getting insurance and then help you in the event that there are claim issues as well. So we feel fairly good about the organization. Back to the question of single employee. Many congregations may have a janitor and a secretary and organist, all of whom are part-time. The law says that if each of them is under 25 hours per week, they are not eligible. You can determine that they are not eligible for benefits, and therefore, if you have only one person who is eligible, the church could follow that rule.
Thank you.
Helen, it's important to make sure that you remember there's a distinction here between part-time, the definition of part-time for ACA, for the Affordable Care Act, which is 25 hours a week or less, versus the Department of Labor, which would be 29 hours a week or less. And so you've got to make sure that the part-time, in your testing of that, the part-time have to be 25 hours a week or fewer.
Okay, thank you.
One other thing, Helen, you want to make sure that you are annually checking this information to make sure that it is still valid as far as compliance. One thing that we realize is that there's a lot of changes that occur from time to time regarding interpretation of this, and you just want to make sure that you're checking it at least annually to make sure that you're in compliance.
Okay. We will try to maintain our ears to the ground if there are any changes and be posting those on website if and as those occur. But Jean's right. You need to make sure that you're aware of those changes.
Okay, thank you. I'll have another follow-up just with one of you later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll move to our next question.
Hi, this is Tracy Sigmund again. I just want to make sure that I'm getting this correct. A church with one full-time employee, being clergy, may qualify either for the church to pay an individual policy directly pre-tax, or the clergy could then qualify for subsidies through the exchanges. So the church really has two options, and if the employee decides to go with exchanges, can the church then give me a benefits bonus to cover those?
You have it correct. They could give you a benefits bonus. It changes your tax. It could change the subsidy because it becomes taxable income, and so you have to see what the numbers might be. But as long as they're not giving you the exact dollars for the premium, they could give you a subsidy and have that applied towards the benefit. But again, it could affect your subsidy.
Tracy, what they cannot do is pay it to you pre-tax and you go to the exchange. So as under the one employee exception here, they can pay the premium directly for private insurance, which is non-ACA insurance, so you can't buy it on healthcare.gov. They can pay that directly and it's non-taxable to you, or they can pay you a taxable benefit stipend and you can go to the exchange or private insurance and seek the coverage that you need.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the clarity.
And we'll move to our next question.
This is David Dubovich. Question about the company that you had mentioned earlier this afternoon and tonight, Gravy. Are they providing information now about what those rates may look like for 2017?
David, the way to go ahead, if you want to move forward with Gravy, is you actually do have to sign up with them in order to get rates from them. But you can also go to healthcare.gov, and we're going to have a webinar next week to demonstrate it. But you can go on healthcare.gov and shop plans and get the 2016 rates. The 2017 rates won't be out until around the 1st of November. But you can get on to healthcare.gov and start looking at different plans. You can put in any prescriptions that you take, any doctors, hospitals, and select those, and it will show you what is available in your area. You can also put in your income, and it will show you if you qualify for any of the tax subsidies for the exchange plans.
Okay.
Also, David, I know that beginning mid-July, we will have webinars with Gravy hosting so that you can get an introduction to what they offer, as well as subsequent webinars about how to sign up and how to participate in that. In addition to the webinars and web-based, they also have a toll-free number that you can access where they will also give you additional support as well.
Okay. And one other question. I know this was released, and I saw it through Facebook, but is there something coming out to those who are currently under the health care plan? Is there a letter coming to the churches so that the churches know what's coming up? Those who are, if the churches are trying to understand this as well.
We have on our schedule to communicate with both the congregations or employers and the individual participants. That should probably occur by mid-July, I would think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And as a reminder, it is star one at this time. If you have a question, we will go to our next question now.
Ray Lambert again. I'm wondering a couple of things. One, my wife is a little younger, but she will hit Medicare age before too long. Can she then get into the pension fund program?
Yes.
Okay. The other question, what is the exchange that you keep referring to?
Well, under the Affordable Care Act,
okay.
each state may have set up its own exchange, or there could be private exchanges that have been set up. It's really called the Health Insurance Network.
Okay.
It's the online access to the coverages for individual coverage.
So the place to begin probably is with healthcare.gov?
I would think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we'll go to our next question now.
Hi, David Woodard. I have a question regarding our flexible spending account agreement that we have worked out. I know there's a potential for carryover for, another month into January or so for some possible expenses. How will that be reconciled with our agreement through the healthcare services that are provided now?
My understanding, don't hold me to this yet, but my understanding is that any of your FSA dollars that are not spent by the end of this year, there is a new provision to carry over up to $500 to the next year. Is that right? And so that you would still have access to that through your current account, but be closing the accounts with respect to new contributions as of December 31.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
We'll verify that with Highmark and put that on the web.
Okay.
And once again, it is star one to ask a question at this time. We'll go to our next question now.
Hi, it's Helen again. I have one more question, maybe just one more, who knows. Okay, so full-time clergy, a 32-hour-a-week administrator whose husband carries her insurance. How would that work?
You therefore have two full-time employees.
Right.
And so the direct payment by the congregation in that case is not eligible.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we go now to our next question.
This is Michael Stump, and I have about 5 years before I hit the 65 mark. And my question is, once I hit that, would I be eligible to go through the Medicare and the pension fund plans?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we go to our next question.
I'm blanking on my question. This is Linda Parker. I was listening so intently to the others. I'm sorry. Just count me out.
I'm here.
As a reminder, it is star one at this time if you have a question. Again, if you have a question at this time, please press star 1. There are no questions at this time.
Let's wait a few more seconds.
It appears we have a question in queue.
Okay.
It's Linda Parker, and I remembered my question. Do you have any thoughts about what I'm assuming is, and from what you said from your email, is that the premium should be lower than what we have been paying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you're assuming as you do this. And so is there like a percentage that you think it will be lower?
Yeah, Linda, this is Todd. For the pension fund staff alone, we're looking between 35 and 45% in Indiana. I worked with an individual in Oklahoma this weekend. They were looking at about a 45 to 50% savings, and about the same in Texas as well. And that is before we would have to raise rates 25% or more next year.
Sure,
so
sure. And
you add that on
assuming
top.
that will happen with other companies as well, some kind of rate raise in January anyway. Yeah.
And those rates are state by state. In Indiana last year, we saw everything from a decrease of 5% to an increase of 20%, depending on the company. And the ones that have been created in response to ACA tend to fare better on their rate increases because they're going in with a more focused network than the large carriers that went in with their full network and are now trying to scale back because they realized that they couldn't meet the demand and balance the books financially with that.
Okay. And this is just a curiosity question. What percentage of clergy use the pension fund health insurance? Do you have an idea?
I can try that, Linda. We at one time when the plan was first created in 1971, there was broad support, and by the early 80s, we had over 11,000 employee lives. In that included the clergy as well as lay employees and general and regional units and such.
Right.
We currently have. At the end of 2015, we had about 1,400 employee lives, so it's down significantly.
Wow.
And that's the issue. As it's gotten smaller,
sure.
And we've gotten older, there are fewer people to spread the claims around. And private insurance simply is a larger pool, and so they would tend to see lower increases over time than we would with a small plan.
Right. And do you have any statistics on where these other clergy get their policies?
There are several places they would go. Many of them may go if they have a spouse that's employed. They may use the spouse's plan. Mm-hmm. I mean, historically, if I'm being sexist here, but in historically, if the clergy spouse was working, the likelihood was that the person was either in healthcare or in education. Mm-hmm. Both of them tended to be fairly liberal in offering health benefits. Or they could be on the exchange, and I think we're seeing more and more people going to the exchange.
Right.
And the one statistic I saw a couple of weeks ago from a forecaster was that by 2020, they're expecting that 90% of employers would have moved to private insurance programs. So it is a trend that just seems to be the direction of healthcare today.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have another question we'll go to now.
This is Michael Carlson, and what I'd like to know is if you have any information about what the changes might be or what might be available in terms of changes in out-of-pocket, changes in the deductibles, that sort of thing. Because the premiums are one thing, but certainly the cost of health care over a year is much more than that. So
Michael,
our savings or added expense might be along those lines.
Michael, this is Todd. The plans that I was looking at for people were based on a match in their current benefit structure. So if somebody was currently in the Choice 1000, we were looking at the Choice 1000. When we looked at our own staff here in Indiana, the benefits were almost identical, and the savings was going with the most expensive identical benefit structure. So it really is a benefit match. The piece that everybody will have to look at is if you have certain medications that you take or you have certain doctors or hospitals that you want to make sure that are included on the plan that you select, because that's what's happening is they're regionalizing the plans and saying, okay, this group of doctors works with this hospital chain and is going to work with this pharmacy and they're going to cover these drugs. So you put all of that in and then it says these are the plans that we recommend as a result. But in all cases, the benefits, there was very little difference between what they currently had, and certainly it was the same level of deductible, copay, those kinds of things for them.
Okay, thank you. I have a follow-up on that. The ACA Exchange site, they provide information that can, to put the medications and the doctors that you want in there, and it'll tell you whether they're covered or not. Now, the Gravy service, they do that if you're going to go with a private company. They can find a company that covers those things that you use, like medications and doctors.
Yeah, so Gravy does both ACA and the private insurance market, and they're going to ask you the similar set of questions so that you can identify any doctors, medications, hospital networks that you're interested in. And then they're going to apply that for both the ACA plans and the private insurance market plans.
Okay. Now, when we share that information with Gravy, are you aware of their privacy policies and how secure their data is?
They are fully HIPAA compliant.
They're a licensed health insurance broker, so they have to be HIPAA compliant.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll go to our next question.
Hi, it's Helen again. Could you go over what I think you said about if the churches would need to give us a bonus to help cover the tax liability when we pay? Can that bonus be given to us in the form of an annuity or something like that? Or does it have to just be added on to our salary?
So, Helen, just one piece on this is we're going to be putting out a kind of a do's and don'ts 101 on this from employers and employees that we're working on the final revisions to. So this will help to recapture everything from the call that says, employers need to do the following, employees need to do the following, and employers and employees can't do the following.
Okay.
So if you are in a position where out of your current monthly income you can take on paying your health care and have the opportunity under the current guidelines for a deferral of income through the tax deferred account with the pension fund and meet all of the guidelines and the maximums and minimums there, certainly you can have them add it to your annuity or to the 403B. What you can't do is have them deposit it there and then take that money out and pay for the health insurance premiums with it. So just like any of you, just like if you were getting a raise and you said, you know what, I'm at a place where I don't want the extra money or I want to try and put some extra money away for retirement, you certainly can do an elective deferral on that income.
Okay, but then I couldn't take it out to pay my premium. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much, and thank you for all this service you're doing right now too. I know it was a hard decision, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And as a reminder, it is star one to ask your questions at this time. We'll go to our next question.
Hi, this is Jackie Summers from Mount Carmel.
Hi, Jackie.
And hey, Todd. I am just calling to ask, because I came into this conversation late, so you may have already covered it. If our church has in their budget to pay for our insurance, they can continue doing that? Is that correct?
Jackie, do you have more than one full-time employee?
Jim is full-time and I'm part-time.
Okay, under 25 hours?
Rarely.
Or are you just
Rarely.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
on paper I'm part-time, but there is no designation of hours.
I understand that, but it's salary that's part-time. I got it. This is a tough one because the two of you as a couple are both employed by the church, and so technically I would guess that you are technically two employees, but since it's one couple, my guess is the congregation could pay your premium directly, and as if it were a plan of one. A plan of one full-time employee, and that's fundamentally the issue. If you have a healthcare plan that has two or more employees, you can go to a broker and get a plan designed for that group. And what the regs are really saying is you can have a plan of one person, but you can't have a plan or a separate individual plan for several different people in the same organization.
Okay.
And Jackie, you don't have any other full-time, more than 25-hour week employees?
No.
One thing that I would do as well is, because 25 hours is the key, I would make sure that even though they refer to you as part-time, to try to clarify that in case ever challenged.
Just to have it in writing, an amendment to your letter of call or something.
The compensation is based on X number of hours of work.
Right.
Okay.
Whether you comply with that or not.
Right. Also, so 25 hours is considered, so over 25 hours, so 30 hours is considered full-time?
26 hours is considered full-time for healthcare purposes.
Okay, so are we required to provide health care at that point?
No, because if you are, well, let me rephrase that. If you have an employer that offers health care to its employees and you are over 25 hours, you would have to cover it.
Okay. All right.
The issue there, Jackie, is you can't offer it to one and not offer it to others.
Certainly.
That are 26 or more.
Okay. That's good to know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
And once again, it is star one to ask your questions. As a reminder, it is star one to ask a question at this time. There are no questions in queue.
Okay, then I'll make a final comment, operator. Thanks to everybody who has been online this evening, has offered questions. I hope that we've responded in a way that's been helpful. Our goal is always to try to care for you and to respond to your questions in a way that is beneficial. We take great satisfaction and pride at the opportunity to serve you, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Feel free to join the webinar on Friday or other calls as they come along from time to time. We thank you for the privilege of serving you and look forward to our next opportunity to hear from you. Until then, we ask God's blessings upon each and every one of you. Good evening.
This concludes our conference. Thank you for your participation and for using AT&T teleconference service. You may now disconnect.